Hey, welcome back. I just thought I'd do a little bit different video this time from what I usually do. I usually don't mix my gaming stuff because I have the gaming part of my channel with the motovlog type stuff. I kept them separate for the most part, but being that it's so nice out, who the hell wants to be inside playing games right now? I wanted to touch on Destiny versus the Division and how Destiny killed the Division, at least in my opinion. And before we get too far into the video, I want to make it clear that I'm not comparing Destiny as a game to the Division as a game. It's mostly what I'm comparing is what the developer, being Bungie, did compared to what Massive has done with the Division, and how over the course of both games being out for a amount of time, the different course the games have gone, what they've learned, the mistakes they've made, and how that's gotten us to where we are now with both games. I think the biggest gripe that I have with the Division is that it's way too easy to level up. Those of you that may have been playing Destiny from the very start understand what grind is. It was a very grindy game. It's a lot different now than what it was then. But there's a happy medium that a game needs to reach where you have to work for your loot, work for your guns, work for your progression. And in my opinion, the Division doesn't have that right now. The reason why I think that is I started playing the game again a few months ago, and I wasn't gear score 256 yet. It took me a very short amount of time to get up to 256, which in a way is good, and in a way it's really bad too, because I also had a friend that at the time was like 172, 170, something right around there. I had him join me in World Tier 5. We ran around killing open world bosses, and within an hour he went from 170 to 256 by me giving him my loot that I didn't need or want, plus the loot he was picking up from the bosses as well. So in that sense, it's kind of, there's no reward for trying to progress through the game. It's just, it's so easy to get to max gear score that I don't know, it just seems like it should be a little bit harder than that. It should take more than an hour to jump up over almost 100, a little bit less than 100 in gear score. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The other thing that really bothers me about the Division is that it doesn't have any incentive to do the incursions at all. In Destiny, you have the raids where you get specific weapons and specific gear for doing that event. You go into a raid, you get raid weapons, and you get raid armor. That's the only way to get it. You can't get it by doing any of the other multitude of options in the game. In the Division, it's completely opposite. You can get to 256, as I just said, by going around and killing open world bosses and getting the same exact loot drops by doing that as you do from an incursion. It doesn't make any sense at all that where's the incentive to do one thing over another one when there's no reward for doing it. Destiny has had its fair share of problems. Like I said earlier, the game was very grindy at the start, and they've made that less grindy. They put a lot of stuff into quests, which makes it easier to get rather than a random loot drop. I like both ways. I mean, it took me 700 hours to get a Galahorn, which is kind of insane, but it was still worth it in the end for me, from year 1 to year 3. And I will say that Destiny has been out longer. It's had more ample amount of time to correct its wrongs that it originally had. The Division has only been out for a little over a year now, but the way that I see them now as compared to where Bungie was with Destiny a little over a year into the game, I see a very vast difference between the two. How people play the game or change how they feel about going into the Crucible, or even if they can, because it becomes such a friggin' shit show that it's not even worth it. Another huge indicator of how bad the Division is doing is that they've lost a lot of content creators on YouTube. I can think of one guy in general who covered the Division non-stop. I was following him from the very beginning, and he no longer covers it. He pretty much gave up on the game. That was after patch 1.6, because the game was so off course for what it should be that he stopped doing content for it. And that says a lot when your content creators are putting out less content, which a lot of them are now. There's not a lot of vendor updates being done, or stop covering the game completely. When you start to lose that type of audience, if you're losing the big time streamers who were getting a ton of views and a ton of subscribers off this game, and they give it up, what's to say about the casuals that were playing the game that have left the game long before now? And granted, the Destiny has had its share of people that have left. There's plenty of people out there who dislike Destiny as much as I dislike the Division, and I was one of them too. I'm not doing this video as a Destiny homer. I quit playing Destiny twice because I wasn't happy with how the game was going. But those two times that I quit Destiny combined, or compared to how I feel about quitting the Division, pales in comparison. I have absolutely zero desire, want, or need to pick up the Division, and that's regardless of what they do to fix it at this point, because I feel as though they fucked it beyond the point of being able to bring back a lot of people. And I honestly think that now they're just trying to ride it out until the Division 2 comes out, and they hope they can either pull players back in or still have enough of a base so that they can have solid footing when the ground solid footing on the ground when the game takes off. I believe that Massive is trying to do the right thing, and I believe they have listened to the fans to a point, but in my opinion they've fallen really short of what that game could be and what everyone thought the game would be when it dropped. They are over a year into the game and have not progressed anything forward story-wise from the base game when it launched. At least with Destiny, when it launched in September of 2014. By the time they hit December, they had a DLC which dropped, which added story, the whole story of the Hive and Crota. And granted, it wasn't like revolutionary as far as it adding a lot of story to the game, but it added something. It was a step in the right direction. Every DLC that is coming out with the Division is not adding anything to progress the story of the main game at all. It's like it's just adding features, and they just recently expanded the Darkstone, which needed it for a long time, but at this point it doesn't really even matter. I had no reservations at all about getting Destiny 2. I reserved it as soon as I could. I have just about 2,000 hours into the game. That's with quitting twice, and once for a long period of time. But I still enjoy the game. I may not play it every day anymore, but I still like it. I still enjoy it. I enjoy the people that I play with on a regular basis. It's just a great game overall, and I really like the way that the game has turned out in the direction that it's going, despite its problems that it had during the first few years. There may be those of you out there who feel completely the opposite of how I do, that love the Division right now and hate Destiny. It's all honestly a matter of personal preference, but with that said, this is all my opinion, and seeing what I see from the community for both games, I would say that more people are upset with The Division than compared to Destiny. Destiny did the live stream for the Age of Triumph reveal, which in all honesty was nothing new. It was nothing but redone raids, which everyone wanted, and it was nice to have all those raids brought up to 390 and to have primary weapons being given out as exotic with burns put back on them. But when you break it right down, they didn't give us anything new for the most part. But when they did that stream, before people even knew that that was what was coming, that stream was pulling in 50,000 viewers for the amount of people that were watching it, one of them including myself. When The Division launched their year 2 plans for The Division, there was a total of 5,000 people watching the stream at the time, which pales in comparison to the amount of people that Destiny is pulling in. It says a lot about your base and a lot about who has quit the game, and I think a lot of it has been some of the reasons that I may have mentioned, but I'm sure everyone has their own reasons for why they stopped playing a game one way or the other. But those are just my personal thoughts. You may completely agree or completely disagree, but that's what makes gaming so diverse, is that everyone has their own opinions. But we'll have to see what's in store ahead for both games. I have my reservations about buying buying The Division 2 at all. I won't buy it at release. I'll wait till the game is out for quite a while before I make that choice, if I get it at all. But no problems at all picking up Destiny 2 on day one. I'm really looking forward to it. But thank you for watching the video, and we'll catch everyone later. See ya.